A question I think a lot of you guys are interested in knowing the answer to is what should you look out for when applying to SDR and BDR roles? Right now in 2021, it's more competitive than ever to get hired at a great firm in technology working in software sales. As we think about firms hiring remote workers entirely, as we think about economic prosperity and everyone having college degrees, as we think about globalization, there are more people than ever applying to the jobs you're interested in getting hired at. So one, how do you identify the top positions and what do you actually look out for when applying to SDR and BDR roles? And then number two, when you do identify those opportunities, how do you actually stand out as the candidate of choice and get hired into your dream sales job? We're gonna cover both of those areas in this video here today. On this channel, we talk everything sales, helping you find your dream sales job and find more success sooner rather than later. So make sure to subscribe to the channel now because it really helps and I don't want you to miss out on any future sales videos. And of course, if you have 1 second to spare, make sure to hit the like button below now as well. When I entered my senior year at Ohio University, 2017, 2018, I had one goal. I actually had two goals. Goal number one was to have a lot of fun and create a lot of memories with all my friends, which we absolutely did. Goal number two was to find a job. I didn't really have any internships. I had no connections in tech. I didn't know what I was gonna do. So I was like, you know what? I gotta find a job. I don't wanna move back home after college. So what I did was I wrote down my goal. So that's what you gotta do right now. Either pause the video or after this video, write down your goal. And I wrote down on a piece of paper, I want to work in sales in a big city outside of Ohio. That was my only criteria. Growing up in Columbus, Ohio was great. I wanted to get out. I wanted to see the world and I wanted to do new things, get new experiences, and meet new people. That was my goal. I wrote it down. I read it every day. I thought about it every day. So I started applying to jobs, and that's what I advise you do. Start taking massive action towards what you want. So what I did was, at my university, I was a part of a sales center, low-hanging fruit, and I said, what are the companies that are hiring for jobs outside of Ohio? I didn't care what industry it was. I didn't know about technology. I applied to manufacturing. I applied to healthcare. I applied to staffing and recruiting. I didn't know what I was doing because I applied to all the companies. And then what I also did was went on to LinkedIn because I didn't know what to do and went to the job section and did the quick apply and applied to like 1,000 companies. And that's just like throwing paint at a board and hoping something sticks. After eventually getting hired at Qualtrics, and I was the only person from my school to get hired there that year, so it meant a lot to me, and when I look back, I got super lucky and I'm super grateful to now have that opportunity and to have worked in software sales the last 3 years. And if you stick around until the end, I'm going to talk about specifically what you can do as a candidate to set yourself apart. Working in software sales and tech for the last 3 years, I now have an idea, and especially interviewing people, I have an idea. This is what you should look out for, and these are the things you need to know. From a macro level, high level, 30,000 foot, head above the clouds, when we think about what companies to apply to and what to look for in an SDR role, number one is the company. What is the profile of the company you're applying to? If you're applying to SDR, BDR roles, that means you're applying to tech. Does that company only serve a specific niche category? So do they only sell to e-commerce sites? Do they only sell to one industry vertical? Or is this a massive market opportunity like a Qualtrics in which we can be in a $100 billion market? You gotta look at the company profile and the growth. Where did they start and where have they gone? And then where are they going in the future? It's really important to understand what stage of the maturity are you joining? Are you joining a private company? Are you joining a public company? Are you joining a company that you think can have a liquidity event like an IPO or eventually get purchased at some point? Because based on the stage of the company you join, startup, big company, and we've talked about that in previous videos, should you join a startup or a big company? And you gotta ask yourself what kind of company you wanna work for and where do you wanna work from a location standpoint? And then how has that company been growing? Has that company relied on a lot of debt? Does that company rely on a sales team? Does that company have a product that sells itself? These are all really important things to know. So just ask yourself, what do you eventually want? Do you want to have more stability? Do you want to have more risk? Where do you want to live? And those are all factors that will help shape what company you should apply to. A tip on this is go to Google, type in top tech companies in Austin, Texas. Type in top 50 most innovative or promising tech companies. Top 50, 100 most funded companies. It's always great to join a company after perhaps seeding round A when they get a lot of venture capital, because that tells you that they're growing, that tells you that somebody believes in them, that tells you that hopefully there's good leadership in place, and there's a large market opportunity, which means the company is going to grow, and that will eventually benefit you in your future. When we come down to a micro level, SDR, what do you actually look for? And this is probably what you really care about, so make sure to listen up. Number one, from a compensation standpoint, you're going to be paid based on an OTE, on target earnings. And that's a mix of your base pay, which is fixed salary, and then variable pay, which is your performance, which is your commission, your quota. So you got to understand, based on the area, geographic, are you going to Seattle? Are you going to San Fran? Are you going to Texas? Are you going to the Midwest? Depending on where you go, that's going to dictate how much you actually get paid, because those more coastal cities are more expensive and they tend to pay a little bit better. And another pro tip about this is when you start in a market like that and you get paid a lot of money, you then can go to other cheaper areas, like you start out in San Fran, then you move to Ohio, all of a sudden you're more valuable in the marketplace just based on that perceived past income. A couple questions you need to ask and be aware of is, do you have uncapped commissions? So hypothetically, you can earn infinite money. And then number two, what is the accelerator structure? So once you hit your quota, do you get paid twice as much at your commission rate once you exceed your quota? That's important to understand. Number two, and a lot of these you can't necessarily understand just based on looking at the job description. What you got to do is perhaps reach out to an existing SDR at the company. That's always great to get a first-hand perspective. And then you can kind of Google what the company culture is like. But you got to understand, what is that path from SDR to AE? Because that's the path you're on. If you start as an SDR or BDR, you're eventually going to become an account executive, or at some point you'll recognize, hey, sales isn't for me. Maybe I should go into customer success. Maybe I should go into solution strategy tech sales. Maybe I should go into an account manager role. Maybe I should just go into marketing. There's a lot of different paths you can take, but most likely if you stay in sales, you're going to go to an account executive. How long will it take you to go from SDR to account executive? You need to understand that. What percentage of SDRs are hitting today in that role? What percentage of account executives are hitting today? What is the OTE for the account executives? These are all important things to understand, because that's going to shape the first 3 to 5 years of your career. Look at the people at the company today that are in their mid to late 20s, early 30s who are account executives. That's what you're working towards. So you got to understand how it's going to all shape out. From a development standpoint, how do they empower you as the SDR to be more successful? Is there a training program? How long is that program? What are the resources you're going to have? These are all really important things to understand. One, to make sure it's a good opportunity, and then two, to make sure you're actually put up in a position to be successful in your career. That's number one, what to look for when applying to a role. Number two, how do you set yourself apart? I get this question all the time on LinkedIn and in the comments. Hey Trent, I have an upcoming interview. What should I do? How do I stand out? And this is what you got to do. Understand the business model. How does that company make money? What is the profile of that company? The only reason they are hiring you is to help them accelerate top line revenue, so make more sales. So your job is to generate pipeline or make more sales. Go into the interview understanding the business model and say, based on my past experiences, based on my unique skill set, this is exactly how I'm going to come in and hit my numbers, help the company grow, and this is why I'm excited to do it, and this is my intentions. Become an enterprise sales rep, individual contributor, become a leader. Paint that picture, because what companies want are people that will, one, fit their company DNA and culture. So make sure to research the company and not just understand how they make money, but what are they looking for in their core values, for example. And make sure that when you frame yourself, your past experiences and how you present yourself aligns from a cultural standpoint, also a skill set standpoint. This is how I'm going to come in, add value to the business, help the business grow, and this is why you should pick me, because I'm going to develop in your program. That's really important to convey. And then the last thing I'd say is just be yourself. After doing a lot of interviews, I felt like I was telling people what they wanted to hear or trying to fake it till I make it. That's what they say a lot, fake it till you make it. And this actually didn't pay off for me. This actually backfired, because when I was in competitive situations, and it's gonna be really competitive, you gotta be yourself. You can't try and act like someone you're not, because you're eventually gonna get exposed and it's just not gonna be aligned and it's not gonna work for you. So be yourself, research the company, show up ready to go, and I'm confident that you can do anything you want as long as you write it down, set the goal, work towards it, take massive action, and the rest will take care of itself. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button now. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.